Hey, Friuli wine fans, this is Wayne Young. How you doing this week? Got a special best of episode for you today. Going back to the 21st of September 2021, so about a year and a half ago, when we had Riccardo Caliari from the SPOLERT winery on the show. This goes back to the days when we were doing live clubhouse sessions as well. So you will hear maybe some comments from clubhouse folks there, me introducing and pinging in some people. I kind of miss Clubhouse, honestly, I have to say. But maybe we'll go back into that. Or maybe we'll do something on Instagram Live. I have a kind of an idea of doing a video live on Instagram in an enoteca here in Udine. So that's kind of a project you should keep your eyes out and ears out for in the very near future. Another project that's coming up very, very soon. We're going to start recording probably next week, probably have episodes out around March, is a special project that I'm working on with the Consorzio of Colli Orientali, where we'll be doing sort of mini episodes about grape varieties, talking a little bit about the specifics of grape varieties here in Colli Orientali. And then the second half of these mini podcasts will be interviews and comments from producers who have a lot of experience with that. So keep your eyes open for this. Hoping next week we'll have an interview with a Friuli winemaker from Isonzo, good friend of mine named Davide Ferezin. Hopefully be recording that episode tomorrow. Get that cleaned up and ready for you next week. In the meantime, you know where to find me. La Taverna Friuli Wines on Facebook. Also Wayne Grape on Instagram. And without further ado, I will leave you with this special edition, this best of edition with Riccardo Caliari from the SPOLERT winery in Prepotto. Okay. Here we are. All right. We're late. Hello, Riccardo. You're here. Put your phone on mute, please. Otherwise, we're going to get all sorts of crazy stuff. I'm going to start pinging people in here, so I know we are like super late. Thanks, everybody, for taking the time and being all sorts of patient with us today. I am pinging people into the room right now. Come on in. We have started the clubhouse room here with Riccardo. Just give us a minute or two. People will start coming in because if you build it, they will come. Is that not true? Isn't that true, Nat?
That is so true.
Yes.
Absolutely. Very Roman of you.
Very Roman. Is that true? I was actually thinking more along the lines of Kevin Costner.
Oh.
Field of Dreams. But anyway, Heather's here. Good. And then we have Yorick. Hi, Yorick. How you doing? Welcome to the clubhouse. Sorry that we're starting a little bit late today. We had some technical difficulties, but I promise you it will be worth the wait. All good things come to those who wait, Nat. You know that, right?
That is definitely true and international.
Okay. So just give us a second here for the room to sort of populate or whatever. If you want to come up on stage, by all means, I'm going to invite everybody up to speak. So please feel free to come on up on stage and ask questions of Riccardo. Really, really interesting guy, really worth your time listening to and hearing his story. So, and lots of different projects and different interesting things going on. So, not just talking about wine tonight, but we're going to be talking about regional promotion and beer, which I love beer. I can't say anything bad about beer. So. Anybody who wants to come up on stage, please feel free to come on up. We jumped in tonight without any music. We just decided we would jump right in and go for it. So, there are a couple of people in here. I'm sure more people will come, Riccardo. But the most important thing is that we get to know you. So welcome here for coming to the clubhouse. Really, really big pleasure for me. So your winery is called SPOLERT in Prepotto, but we have a lot of other things to talk about. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll start getting into some particulars.
Why not? Thank you, Wayne.
Thanks.
It's
Riccardo.
a pleasure for me to be here with you. And I want to say hello to Jorik, that is a friend of mine from Holland.
Oh, really? Oh, fantastic.
Hi, Jorik.
Hi, Jorik. Okay.
And,
Jorik or Yorick?
Jorik.
Jorik, okay.
I say Jorik. I don't know if it is correct, but I think so. And I'm Riccardo.
Here he's up on stage. So, hey.
Ciao, Jorik.
Jorik, or is it Jorik or is it Yorick? Yorick, I can't hear you. Alza un po' la...
I don't have a mic, I think.
Oh, no, Yorick, you're fine. It was us. It was on our end.
Right. So it's Yorick, yeah.
Yorick. There you go. See, Riccardo? I think it's because I've seen Yorick in some other clubhouse rooms. I think that's the only reason why.
Yeah.
So anyway. So sorry, Riccardo. Go ahead. So you are Riccardo, but you are not Friulano.
I'm not Friulano.
Okay.
I'm from Verona.
From Verona, okay.
So
beautiful city.
I come from the land of Amarone.
Amarone.
And but in Verona, I don't produce wines.
Okay, well, there's already enough wine being produced in Verona.
In Friuli as well, but
yeah, that's true.
I'm an engineer. I'm 40 years old, and I started producing wine more or less 10 years ago in Montalcino with a winery there. That is called Le Maciocche.
Le Maciocche,
and
okay.
Then 3 years ago, we because I had some business partners, we sold it, and I decided to move to Friuli, and I decided to come to Prepotto because it's one of the most important area in Friuli for the production of red wines, because we have Schioppettino.
So you were a producer, let's say, of Brunello di Montalcino. And you gave that up to come to Friuli. One of the most important red wines in the world.
Why?
Exactly. Well, obviously I have, these conversations before the podcasts, right? And one of the things that I said, I was like, well, why would you give up Brunello? So what in the world made you change your mind and shift from Brunello di Montalcino to Friuli, to Prepotto?
Because I'm crazy. No, I'm joking.
That's a legitimate reason.
For several reasons, but I think the most important one is that the climate change is changing very fast. The world of wine, and I try to find out a place fresh, not so hot, and rich of water, and a production and an area of production of red wines, because white wines in Friuli are very famous, and Collio, for example, they are very famous in the world. But my bet is in a few years, the red wines from Friuli will be closer to the international taste than they are now. Okay, so that's my bet, and I think that Schioppettino is a great wine, and it's very good nowadays. But it will be closer to the international taste with the climate change.
What do you mean? We're going to talk about climate change for sure, but what do you mean? Define for me what you mean by international taste.
Yeah, I mean it will be more round. Schioppettino is spicy.
Yeah,
it has a good acidity. It's let me say just a vertical wine, very elegant, and the climate change will be will have an impact of this wine, and it will be more, let me say, round, more soft, and this will be a very important result, I think, for the Schioppettino in the future.
Okay, so you said that you were an engineer.
Yeah.
And you said that you actually worked sort of in the world of climate change.
Yeah.
So that was kind of your focus.
Yeah, absolutely.
So can we call you an expert on climate change? Or
more
someone
or
who's very, very,
yeah.
someone who's very, very who knows a lot about climate change.
I work on climate change.
You work on climate change. So you actually said to me yesterday when we had a conversation that one of the reasons why that you sort of lost a little bit of interest in Brunello was because it was becoming too hot in that area because of climate change. Is that true?
That's what I think.
That's what you think. So you think it's going to be more difficult to make wine there. So you were looking for someplace more northern that tends to be a little bit cooler, but will become warmer and start making Brunello style wines from 20 years ago, maybe.
Of course.
This is a really interesting tactic, I think. Yeah, very, very cool.
We just have to wait 20 years, but we have time.
Yeah. We have nothing but time, right?
Nothing but time.
So did you consider some other places to make wine in northern Italy before you settled on Friuli, or was like Friuli kind of your first choice?
It was my first choice because I know Friuli quite well because I arrived here 15 years ago as an engineer in Danieli, and so I get in touch with the Friuli a lot of years ago, and so I know people from Friuli, I know the land, and so it was my first choice.
Okay. So you'd already had a little bit of contact. You've already put down a little bit of roots here before you decided to do that. Okay. And Prepotto, so you said, okay, Schioppettino, important, right?
Yeah.
So I also think that Schioppettino is a really important grape variety. But what else? Is there anything else that really drew you to Prepotto in particular in Friuli?
But Prepotto is on the hill, 15 kilometers far from Udine. We are in the middle between the sea and the mountain. We are in a valley. We are in the valley of the river that is called Udrio, and so it's a very. This place has a very good microclimate. In terms of wind, because it's always is often windy, and so this is important for the health of vineyard, and because the terroir is a particular terroir in Prepotto that gives to the red wines a special taste, and so I think it's one of the best place in Friuli to produce red wine.
Okay. So because of this sort of balance between coolness and heat and air, and so it is a very particular place, Prepotto. It's the valley with the Udrio that runs through it. The Udrio tends to cool off the vineyards a little bit. Plus, there's a lot of wind that comes down through there. It's kind of whenever I think of Prepotto, obviously I think of Dolenia, which is basically on the other side of the river, correct? Yeah, and those two areas are considered the coolest areas in the region. Did you know that, Nat, that those two areas are quite cool?
No, I didn't. And now I'm assuming they're extra cool from what you're saying.
That's why I'm looking at you.
Not just cool, but they're cool.
They're cool. Yeah, they're cool, but they're cool.
But they're cool. I know Dolenia.
See, Dolenia is basically right on the other side of the Udrio River from Prepotto.
Yeah, it's just in front of Prepotto.
Yeah, exactly.
And Prepotto is very beautiful, right?
Absolutely.
It's stunningly beautiful for even coming from Udine, where we live, and going into the hills of Prepotto.
20 minutes away.
Stunningly beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. And Prepotto is actually much bigger than I had realized. Because where you are sort of the southern tip of Prepotto, and then where Ronchi di Ciale is sort of the northern tip of Prepotto, and it's quite far away. It's not next door. It's a 15-minute drive maybe from one to the other.
I think more.
I
think 20.
20 minutes from one to the, because to go to Ciale I have to go over the hill, so it takes a little bit longer. But it's quite a bigger area than I had imagined.
I think it's one of the biggest area in the Udine district.
Okay.
Because it's 34 square kilometer.
Okay.
The area. So I think it's the biggest in the Udine area. And Cialla is on the other side. We know very well Cialla because it's very famous and important for the wines. And we are in Prepotto. We have the mainly native grapes, and I want to say that the future will be the area of native fine wines. native fine
native,
wines.
excuse me,
native. Whatever.
Native fine wines.
Okay.
It means that nowadays are the moment of the native wines, and so this local grapes, this ancient style of vinification, and it's a market different from the fine wines, but in this moment the native grapes are very important on the market.
Yeah.
And so I would say native fine wines. So
Native fine wines. Okay. So obviously your focus is going to be on Schioppettino, which is the grape variety from the area. But you don't make just Schioppettino. So tell us a little bit about the winery and the wines that you make.
Okay. I produce mainly Schioppettino, Friulano, and Ribolla Gialla, and Merlot. So 2 red wines and 2 white wines at the moment. I have several projects in my pipeline, but we have to wait times. For example, I want to produce a champenoise in Prepotto, but
with
Chardonnay,
Chardonnay and Pinot Nero.
and Pinot Noir.
Wow, very interesting.
But in the future.
So
at the moment, I produce Schioppettino, Friulano, Ribolla Gialla, and Merlot mainly. Okay, and I run 8 hectares of vineyards, and me and my wife. So we run the winery, and we are in organic conversion. So we'll be organic in 2 years. So we just started this year. So we need 3 years to be organic, but we work in a sustainable way. Even if we are not certified as organic yet. And it means that we try to work on the vineyards and not in the canteen. And we try to use not systemic products on the vineyards. And we have some characteristics. For example, we don't use any steel tank. We just use concrete tanks. And we use amphoras. And of course, barrique and tonneau for the aging of wines.
Is there any particular reason why you've avoided stainless steel?
Yeah, mainly for 2 reasons.
Okay.
The first one is because it's a way to go back to the past. And so we try to create a bridge between the past, the traditions, and the nowadays. And so we try to connect with using traditional techniques in the canteen, and so this tank are the tank that was used in the past from the previous owner.
Excuse me, I have a question. Is it law that in Friuli you need 3 years to be recognized as organic? You have to spend 3 years practicing organic, and then you get certified organic?
In Italy.
I don't. Yeah, in all of Italy. Yeah.
Not in Friuli.
And one of the tanks you were talking about would be the terracotta ones. I missed the correct term.
Yeah, amphore.
Amphora.
Yeah, amphora. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
but I use amphora as barrique, so just for the aging. So don't think to maceration or stuff like that in amphora. But
so no orange wines.
Not orange wines.
No.
But just amphora as a barrels.
As a container.
As a container.
Yeah. Okay.
For 18, 20 months. It depends on the wine, and then we mix the result with the wines from the barrique, for example. We use amphora because this kind of amphora is an amplify. Is correct in English? Amplify the primary taste of the grapes.
Okay.
And so I want to have the original taste of the grapes in the wine. That's why we use amphora. And at the moment we are producing 15,000 bottles per year, so 15. So just we are a very small winery, even because we are a young winery in Prepotto, because we started 3 years ago, and so we are growing, but at the moment we are producing 15,000 bottles per year, and That's all. At the moment, we are selling on the Italian market and on the US market in Holland with Jorik.
Oh, okay.
Jorik is our importer.
Oh, he's your importer in
Holland.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
And
so that's the connection.
Yeah, that's the connection. And that's all.
All right. So, we'll take a moment here and we'll ask. I have Heather and Sandra here in the room with us, and Yorick as well. If you guys have any questions at this point for Riccardo, if you wanted to ask him anything about his winery or anything, but we got other things that we can talk about. But I did want to give the people here up on stage a chance to ask a question. So Heather, Sandra, feel free to jump in if you have a question. Hi, Heather.
Hey, how are you doing today, Wayne?
Good, Heather. Always a pleasure to see you here.
Good to see you guys. Hi, Riccardo. It's nice to meet you. I don't know if Wayne's given you any background on me, but I'm one of those people that's on a quest to try every Friulano that I can try. I actually have 24 on order coming from Tanico to me. So
wow.
I couldn't find any of yours in there, though. Where can we get your wines in the United States?
Good question.
Yeah, in the future, I hope as soon as possible. At the moment, we are selling wine in California and in Canada, but not in all US countries. So we need times. We just started few years ago.
Yeah, your winery started in 2018.
And 18, so we are very young, and
so very young.
Yeah. And so we are building the market.
Okay, cool.
Well, I look forward to tasting them. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, Heather, you can always, go to the website. Maybe they can get some bottles to you
of
or
course.
Something like
Just
that.
send me either an email and I can send you some bottle as samples to taste.
Nice. There you go.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
I think, Heather, you might have like a podcast or like maybe a blog that you could write just about tasting Friulian wines, since you love Friulano so much and that's kind of your focus. Maybe that's something that you could do. It's like, my life with Friulano or something like that.
Yeah,
that's right.
And at the moment, we are producing 3 different kinds of Friulano.
3 different kinds. So tell us about those 3 different kinds of Friulano that you're producing.
I love Friulano, and I think it's one of the most important white grapes in this area. And we produce 3 different kinds of Friulano. The first one is, let me say, a traditional wine. So a white wine without maceration. It's just a few months of aging in these concrete tanks. And so this is the most standard Friulano that we produce now. But we have 2 different kind of Friulano. The first one, let me say, is a natural Friulano. So we are trying to produce natural wine. It means without sulfites, with spontaneous fermentation, with indigenous yeast, without filtration. And so it's a way to find out the ancient taste of Friulano. And this is a new project, and we produced just a few bottles of it last year.
Okay. So the last year was the first time you tried this.
Yeah, was the first one. It was the first year. And the third one is a macerated Friulano. Okay, so we leave the grapes in the tank for 3-4 days with the skin, and so it's quite important Friulano because the maceration gives this. Important to the wine.
A bigger, sort of more.
Yeah. So let me say, it's we are trying to work with Friulano to find out the different expressions that Friulano.
That's very interesting. That's very interesting. So not just the expressions of the territory, but also the expressions of how you produce it. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? Thanks, Heather. Yeah, thanks for jumping in there. But feel free. Sandra, did you have any questions? I see you're up on stage. I would love for you to... Hi, Sandra. Really nice to see you. Is this the first time you've been with us? Yeah, you seem to be a new face.
This is the first time.
Well, thank you very much for coming, Sandra. I really appreciate it.
Welcomed. I actually run a room on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I like to get together with folks and just talk about wine and ask silly questions about like maybe the first time you had this particular wine, or
that's
what your
absolutely not a
experiences
silly
were.
question at all. That's actually a great question. I might steal
Well,
that from
it
you.
gets silly. Okay, well, maybe we'll have to work together because I am
I would love to.
launching a podcast. And what I really enjoy is the big red wines. I love a Malbec, and I'm going to say it wrong. I think he said the Monticello.
Brunello
is,
di
one.
Montalcino, yeah.
Yes. Oh my God, love that. And I'm so interested now in this other wine, and I'm going to be connecting with you, Riccardo. I'm following you, and I definitely want to try some different wines. I'm just a lover of grapes, and I think that you should always keep trying. So thanks for, doing something special with this grape here for us.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you very
Well,
much.
definitely you want to get in on sort of the ground floor when we're talking about Schioppettino, because Schioppettino is kind of an up-and-coming grape variety. It's a native grape variety from Friuli. Obviously, Riccardo had his pick of the entire nation, practically, of which red wines he wanted to make, and he chose Schioppettino. So do you make some different versions of Schioppettino as well?
Yeah. We produce two different Schioppettino. The first one is, let me say, standard Schioppettino. So just a few months of aging in a part in amphora, a part in barrique, and the rest in concrete tanks. And the other wine that we produce with Schioppettino grapes is the Schioppettino of Prepotto.
Okay.
That is a part of the DOC Friuli Colli Orientali with our rules.
It's like a subzone.
Yeah, it's a subzone.
It's a subzone, okay.
And so we produce at the moment two kind of Schioppettino, and the second one is a wine that aged for 18 months in tonneau, French oak, and 1 year in bottle. So now we are on the market with the 2018, and it's let me say just a bit more elegant than the other one, and just a bit more important, even if Schioppettino is a very, very soft grape. So the wine produced with Schioppettino grapes are not so structured.
Right, so not a lot of tannins.
Not a lot of tannins, absolutely. So it's a very, I want to say, it's something like the Pinot Noir, more than...
I've heard more than one time people say, it's the Pinot Noir of Friuli. Yeah. Schioppettino also, especially Sandra, if you're into that kind of thing, or people who are into sort of spicier style red wines. I know Sandra mentioned Malbec. It's quite spicy. Tell us a little bit about that spicy side of Schioppettino.
Yeah. Schioppettino has a main flavor that is the black pepper, and this is this flavor comes from rotundone, that is a particular enzyme. I don't know in English. Enzyme, is it correct?
Enzyme. Thank you.
you.
Thank you for the lovely
A little
British pronunciation. Yeah.
That gives this...
Always sounds much better than me saying enzyme.
enzyme.
enzyme. Thank you very much. And that gives this flavor of black pepper to the Schioppettino. So it's very spicy. It's very particular.
Is there something about Prepotto where Prepotto brings out more of this rotundone, this black pepper style?
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
What is it? Is it the climate? Is it because it's cooler, or is it because it's the soil? What is it that makes Prepotto special for Schioppettino?
I think because of all those things. So the climate, the soil.
Okay. So I already got them. Okay.
It's the best place for a grape. So
right, yeah.
It's difficult to say it's just the climate or it's just the soil.
From what I understand from Schioppettino is that if you make Schioppettino in a place that's very hot, and the grape becomes very ripe, you taste much less rotundone. There's much less of that in. Whereas if you grow it and make wine with it in an area that's cooler, when it's less ripe, you tend to get more of that thing. Yeah. Rotundone is connected to ripeness, from what I understand. So Prepotto being cooler makes it a little bit less ripe and makes the black pepper essence come out more.
If I may, the word rotondone means roundness.
Yeah, but rotundone, don't confuse that with rotondo.
Right.
because it's rotundone. It's the name of the actual enzyme
I see.
that makes it taste like black pepper.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you learned something today, right?
Yep.
So I have a.
Go ahead,
quick
Sandra.
question.
Go. Hit me.
So I like to have a glass of wine when I come home. Well, these days we're just home every day.
Who
but
doesn't?
I would, and I am not only red or only white. I like to try them all. What is a great wine that you can say you just have a glass and you just enjoy the flavors that they play around on your tongue that you are crafting these days?
Well, we've talked about two of them, one white and one red, that I think are both perfect wines for when you get home from work. The white wine being the Friulano, which is Heather's a big fan. So hook up with Heather if you want to know more about Friulano, because she's going through all of them. But Friulano is a great white wine, and I think that's a wonderful wine to sort of just take home, open up, and then let those flavors run through your. What could you say about Friulano, Riccardo? We're gonna drink one right now. Is this the one that's all natural?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So this is going to be a big treat for me. And then the other one, of course, we're talking about Schioppettino. And one of the great things about Schioppettino is that since it's not particularly tannic, it's a great wine that you can just have, a red wine that you can have.
Also for aperitif.
At aperitif, exactly. You can just drink it on your way after you've gotten home from work. So it doesn't have to be a big, strong tannic wine. So Sandra, either one of these two wines, I think, would be perfect for just coming home, popping open a bottle, and relax. Just really and relax. Yeah. So seek those wines out.
You know, I ask about that because I know a couple of people who are getting a little older, but they still love the wine, but they're like, I can't deal with the heavy tannins. So thank you so very much.
Exactly. Well, Schioppettino is definitely right up your alley. So, yep.
Sandra, it's Natalie here. Hello.
Hi, Natalie.
Hi. I'd just like to say that we have just, as you've been speaking, opened a bottle of Riccardo's Friulano, which I'm a student. I'm learning about all of this, and I'm here to ask honest questions, things that I don't know about. And I must tell you, Wayne, what's the right language to describe this delicious?
Absolutely. Well, Riccardo, what would you sort of use to describe this wine? I mean, it's your wine, so I want you to talk about it.
I would say very interesting. So because it's delicious, of course, but it's very particular.
It's dry, right?
It's dry, absolutely.
It's very dry.
No residual sugar at all.
Absolutely.
Don't confuse dryness with tannins. Don't confuse. Dryness means not sweet.
But this is not fruity.
No.
This is not fruity.
So it's a little bit more on the mineral side, maybe?
It's the mineral side.
Yeah.
You know, our soil is the ponca. That is this kind of soil that gives a lot of minerality to the wines. And this wine is not filtered.
In fact, the first thing I noticed, Sandra, for your information, is that it's not transparent.
Yeah.
It's not, you can't almost see through it. It's
a little bit cloudy.
It's a bit cloudy, which at first I thought maybe it was because, it's cold, the condensation, but in fact...
It's not filtered.
It's not filtered, I'm right.
Never. So you can feel just a bit the yeast, maybe. So this flavor of yeast that you can feel as the first flavor that you feel in the mouth. Mm-hmm. It's a quite warm wine. We have 14 degrees of alcohol.
Wow, 14%. Okay,
14%. So you don't feel it, but we have it.
Okay.
Slightly more dangerous in that sense because it's great drinkability. It's delicious. It tastes light. Can I say it tastes light?
Well, I think
There's a lightness, a crispness to it.
Yeah,
because the fullness is balanced with the minerality and the acidity.
And the drinkability of wine is what I try to have in my wines, because I want to drink a bottle of wine without any kind of I don't know how to say any kind of difficult stuff. So I want to drink very easily and very fast a bottle of wine. And I think that you can have the idea of a juice of grape.
Yep.
So if you smell it, you can. It's the what you feel is something closer to the grape of the wine than
the wine of
than
the
the
wine. Than the wine.
Of the grape than the wine.
It's very grapey. It's almost as if you were to like take grapes off the vine and just crunch down on them and get that sweetness.
But the aroma is reminds you of the grapiness, but the taste is not.
What I love about it is that it's hard for me to translate this into English, but I love it's vivace. It's that vivacità, that sense of being very alive and very sort of fresh on the palate. You know,
I think the cloudiness adds to that. It makes it feel that, like you spoke before about naturalness. You don't want to use acciaio steel tanks, for example.
But
very nice. Very nice.
Do you like it?
I do like
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. That's what's important.
That idea. Go ahead, Sandra.
Oh no, I was going to ask then, what fruits or I always say this badly, so that's my disclaimer. What type of a charcuterie tray would you put out with either the Scopettino or the Friulano? I don't know if I'm saying it right.
Just to say, Sandra, to let Riccardo know, charcuterie, she's talking about the sort of prosciutti, cheeses, meats.
Affettati. What we would call affettati.
What would you match?
Yes. And my favorite one is always the prosciutto de melone.
Okay, yes, yeah. Prosciutto de melone.
You can drink.
This Friulano would be perfect with that. Now I'm getting hungry.
So nice to know that you know prosciutto and melone, because it's a very Italian typical.
Absolutely, the saltiness of the prosciutto, the sweetness and the juiciness of the melon, of the cantaloupe. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I think this Friulano would be great. Friulano is great with prosciutto all the time. So yeah. So any other affettati that you would love to pair this Friulano with, or even the Scopettino?
I think that with Friulano the best is the prosciutto, so the ham, the San Daniele.
Yeah,
you know that is the perfect pairing with the Friulano, and Scopettino. It's a good wine for a dinner with some meat, but not with a strong taste, because it's a very soft and elegant wine, and so it's the taste of the meat is too strong. You cannot feel the wine.
So you don't want like a big grilled steak with Scopettino.
No way.
You want something, maybe some pork,
some pork, some white meat.
White meat, even like baked chicken.
Why not?
Well, yeah.
Why not?
I think as far as charcuterie or as affettati is concerned with Scopettino, I would want something with a little bit more fatness, a little bit more flavor. So maybe like a fresher salami, like maybe a hand cut salami that has a little bit more fat to it. That's a little bit fresher.
I'm thinking the first thing that comes to my mind, Sandra, if you think about Scopettino, would be for me quite a strong cheese. I like the idea of having a strong cheese to balance it.
Strong as in like aged, or strong as in
strong
like
as
stinky?
In slightly aged. No, I'm thinking of a sort of...
I'm thinking of adding olives to it also. So like this would be
olives always good.
Yum, yum.
Better with red than with white, I think, olives. Olives are pretty strong, yeah.
But it's 8:00 in Italy, so I start to be just a bit hungry.
Exactly. So... I just saw that we just taking a minute here, a break, to see that I have Jack in the audience. Please, Jack, come on up if you have any questions. I've invited you up. I'm happy that you've decided to come and listen in. And Lotta Scarborough is here as well, who is a producer in Friuli. But I tried to ping her up on stage, but she decided that she's shy this evening and she doesn't want to come up on stage. Okay, Jack is up here. Jack Madrid, who is... a fantastic Clubhouse host, and he's always been super nice to me. on his shows. I always try and tune in whenever I can. He does a blind tasting series. He does some wine gangster series. I always love to go there and if not contribute, at least listen. So Jack, if you have any questions, please jump in right away. If you have any questions for Riccardo.
Thanks so much, Wayne, for your kind words.
No, thank you, Jack.
I also feel the same way about your weekly rooms and your club. For especially for a region that I think deserves more visibility and recognition. So thanks for raising the Friuli flag.
Absolutely.
Here on Clubhouse. I unfortunately, Riccardo, I have not had a chance to. I'm based in Vancouver, in Canada. I have not had a chance to taste your wines, but I am a little bit familiar with another winery. When I was living in Asia, I was able to taste some wines from my wine shop that I go to there from Feluga. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Sure.
But I have enjoyed...
one of the pillars of Friulian winemaking, yes.
Yes, and, they... Just a bunch of really compelling whites, and they also have... I forget the name of the red, but that was very, very distinguished, I forgot the grapes of their red, but I had a chance to taste a few bottles of the red as well.
Well, hopefully, Jack, you're going to taste some more Friuli wines now that you're here and now that you and I have sort of established this connection here on Clubhouse. So hopefully we'll find a way either to get you over here, which would be like super cool if we could get you over to Friuli, and I will take you to all like the cool places. And if not, we're going to get some wine out to you in Vancouver.
Well, you can count on it. Wayne, because I've not been to Friuli, but there are many wine regions in Italy that I have not yet been to. I've only been to Tuscany, which is quite a shame. But it was a good start. But I will be in Italy for sure sometime in 2022. So I wanted to ask you, what is the best way to get there? I mean, if I fly in through Milan, would that make sense?
Milan is far. I would fly to Venice. Venice is only about an hour by car away.
Oh, okay. Good.
So that would be my. But obviously, it all depends on your flights out of Vancouver and how many connections you would have to make. Nat, did you have something to add?
Excuse me, I do. You can either, depending, as Wayne said, on the airline that you choose, you can either fly to Venice, which is fantastic because you can go from Venice, make your way through Friuli, and if you like, go to Trieste. Or if you can find a flight to Trieste, it's even better because then you're 30 minutes, you're in the middle of Friuli, basically, and you've got everything in front of you, and we can give you the wine tour of your life.
The full Monty.
Absolutely, the full Monty for sure.
Yeah, it all depends on your connections, Jack. But yeah, I mean, there are connections like from places like Berlin and Munich and things like that that go directly to Trieste.
Also Ljubljana, if you wanted to, is another thing that a lot of people do. They fly to Ljubljana in Slovenia. And then from there, you're an hour and a half, and you're in Trieste. And then you've got the whole of Friuli in front of you and fly out of Venice. The other thing to do is to think about flying in one place and flying out of somewhere else.
Would Trieste be the preferred base then for a Friuli visit?
Well, Trieste is it's the biggest city in Friuli, but the airport is a little bit outside of the city, but you can get to a lot of different places from Trieste.
I mean, Jack, Trieste could be a base. It depends on what you want to do, but Trieste is one possible base, but there are other places, perhaps more rural. There's Udine and various other towns and cities. It depends what you're looking for. So whenever you want, you contact Wayne or you contact La Taverna, and we can help you to work something out to give you the best tour that you want, especially if you want a wine tour.
Actually, we've obviously hit a button with Nat.
Ding dong.
Exactly. So
Ding
dong. If you want to get in touch with Nat, let me know. I will put you directly in touch with her, and she'll set you up. She's the expert on the travel stuff. So So Jack, but yeah, you got to get over here. I can't wait to take you around Friuli, and we'll figure you out.
Certainly do. It has moved up many notches on my wish list. So
Jack, I think I lost you.
It's moved up many notches on my wish list. So thanks.
You're working. I'm out. I don't have anything.
I can hear everything, Wayne. Can you hear me?
No, Sandra, I'm having a little bit of a hard time here. Hold on. Give us a second.
Oh, okay.
We're trying to figure out what's going on. My headphones are dead. There you go. Hello? My headphones are dead. Hang on a second. I can't hear anything. Can you hear something?
I can hear you.
You can hear me, but I
can hear you too.
Yeah. I'm out. I can't hear anything. My mic's gone. Okay, now I'm back.
I'd just like to say...
sorry about that, everybody. Sorry.
Before Wayne...
So, Sandra, you were saying, yes, hang on a second, Nat. Sandra said, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Did you have something to say, Sandra?
I just had a question because I know that down in the audience, June is here, and she actually comes to my sessions, but she's also very interested in champagnes. She's a huge champagne lover. So do you have anything that's coming on the bubbly side?
Well, Riccardo, tell us a little bit about your Spumante project.
Yeah. You know that Friuli is a good area to produce champenoise because of the climate. It is very, very fresh, very cool. And also the terroir has this minerality that helps the production of both Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. And so my dream, because I'm a champagne lover as you, I guess, my dream is to produce my own bubbles, no? But you know that you need a lot of years because you need at least 3, 4, 5 years to have the first wine, and so we have to wait 3 years more to taste my bubbles.
But there are other bubbles that do come from Friuli.
Absolutely.
There are some great sparkling wines from here. Some of them are based on Ribolla Gialla. So Sandra, if you can find some sparkling Ribolla Gialla around you, I would definitely give that a try if you want to jump into Friuli sparkling wines. But there are also some Metodo Champenoise wines that are very famous. Dorigo is probably one of the more famous ones. There's also Pitaro. I don't know if those make it to the States, but I don't know. They're a big producer. But there are a number of sparkling wines that come from here, but most of them are based on Ribolla Gialla. But there are some, Chardonnay and Blanc de Blanc style wines with Pinot Bianco as well.
Pinot Bianco as well. But at the moment, Ribolla Gialla. The sparkling Ribolla Gialla, I think, is the most important sparkling wine in Friuli.
Yeah, because it's a native grape variety.
Absolutely.
Do you make Ribolla Gialla as well?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do. So, what's your take on Ribolla Gialla? You like Ribolla Gialla? Is it, a lot of people are sort of saying it's the future of Friuli. What do you think about that?
I don't think the same.
You don't think so?
No. I think that is also for the international market is something that is too close to Prosecco. Okay, please don't complain with me, but it's in the world we have two kind of sparkling wine: Prosecco and Champagne.
Okay, yeah, more or less that's true, right? Yeah.
And if you produce a sparkling wine, as Ribolla Gialla is, let me say, close as not as taste but as a product to Prosecco, it's really very difficult that this kind of wine will be so important for this reason. That's what I think.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, hang on, Nab. Hold on to that thought.
I'm here.
Because I just got June up on stage because obviously she has something to say. June, did you want to jump in with a question?
I just wanted to say hello. I'm going to have to jump off soon. I came in late and I spent a lot of the time looking up how to spell Scapitino. Right. So it sounds absolutely delightful. It sounds like a great summer.
Seek it out, and do seek out Riccardo Scapitino from
I
SPOLERT.
absolutely will.
Yeah.
It's nice to meet you, Riccardo, Heather again, Yorick, Sandra, and Jack, of course. So I'm going to have to pop off, but thanks, everybody. It's a very good discussion, and I will actually seek it out.
Thank you, June. That's the most important thing. Thanks for coming in and saying hi. I really appreciate you being here.
Absolutely, Wayne. Thank you.
Okay. So, Nat, go ahead, hit us.
My question is about Ribolla Gialla. May I be honest, completely honest? Ribolla Gialla is not my favorite wine. I've got friends who absolutely love it. I find Ribolla Gialla very different from Prosecco. Personally, and I'm not an expert, I can't imagine Ribolla Gialla ever getting to where Prosecco's got, or Champagne. Champagne, Prosecco, which is, as we were discussing before the podcast, now it's blown up completely. Ribolla Gialla is something quite particular. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, I don't know the right language to use. Sandra, if you're still there, I'm also learning which are the right words to use. But
I'm here.
Hi, Sandra, honey. I'm just...
Riccardo, what do you think that might be?
It depends on the point of view. So if our point of view is the taste, you're right. Okay, so Ribolla Gialla has its own particular taste, and so it's not similar to Prosecco.
Exactly.
So
Prosecco is, I find Prosecco, when it's really good, it's crisp and it's light and it's delicious.
This is from the tasting point of view, but from a commercial point of view.
Okay.
That's what I mean. It's closer.
All about the taste. From where I'm sitting, it's all about the taste.
So maybe you're talking about like in terms of prestige. You know, Champagne has this prestige, right? Champagne is what you drink on New Year's Eve. It's what you drink when you're celebrating your baby's birth. It's, and Prosecco is kind of one of those things that it's really super fun because it's not expensive and it's super fruity and it's easy. And it kind of reminds you of that fun that you have when you drink a little bit of champagne. But you don't have to spend 50 or 60 or 70 or $100 on a bottle. You can spend 10.
Well,
12.
I must say, if I may, more than 15 years ago in London, when Prosecco was becoming really popular, you go into a decent pub, not the best pub, but a decent pub in a cool area, and you can easily pay £30, which is close to €35, for a bottle of, it is Valdobbiadene. I don't remember.
A bottle or a glass?
A bottle.
Okay.
And I was in New York City a few years ago, and I was charged $15 for one glass of Prosecco that was not good.
Well, that's New York City, and New York City is just crazy.
So I would beg to differ. I would say that good Prosecco people will pay for. It's not champagne. Of course it's not champagne, but...
Well, the question is, how much was an equivalent glass of champagne in that same place? It was probably 30.
Exactly. I was going to say $25.
Yeah, so.
I was in Gramercy Park somewhere.
Yeah, super posh. Yeah. But anyway, I want to get back to Riccardo because not only do you make wine, not only have you set forth on this journey of creating great wines from Friuli, but you also make beer.
Of course.
Nice. Tell us a little bit about that project.
Yeah.
Oh, can I interrupt for 1 second?
Yep, go ahead, Sandra, before we jump into beer.
I want to look on your website so I can kind of see what all of your products are. So can you just tell me what that is?
So Sandra, I'm not sure if you want to know the website for the SPOLERT wines.
Yes, and the beer. I want to try everything.
What's your website for SPOLERT? SPOLERT.it?
.it.
Yeah. SPOLERT.it. SPOLERT.it. That's where you want to go, Sandra. And we'll talk about the beer now, and then we'll get to the beer site.
Sorry, Wayne.
Jack, hit me.
Before you go into beer, I just wanted to, I love anything that sparkles. So, just what Riccardo said, was very intriguing, and I know it was an important thing. But I wanted to ask, the sparkling you make, Riccardo, are they made? They're not made in the traditional method. It doesn't sound like, because you were comparing it to Prosecco. Am I correct?
Yeah, the Ribolla Gialla that I produce is a Charmat method, so it's the same method of Prosecco.
But
you're also making
one
grape only.
Please repeat, please.
do you make the sparkling with only one grape, or do you blend it?
At the moment, I have just a sparkling wine with Ribolla Gialla. That is one grape. But in the future, I will produce one more sparkling wine made with Chardonnay and Pinot Noir.
Oh, okay. But your Ribolla will always be 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No, thanks, Jack. Thanks for jumping in. So tell us a little bit about the beer project, because this is something that I had already met you, and then all of a sudden I see an article in the paper that says that here's Riccardo Caliari and he's got a beer thing going on. So tell us a little bit about that. Super interesting.
Yeah, this is a very interesting project in Italy. So we produce craft beer in Friuli, so close to the sea, close to Lignano, and the brewery is called S01e04 Passi. So in English the translation is 620 feet.
620 steps.
Yeah,
steps, not feet.
Feet.
But feet come. I think the reason for that confusion is because feet was measured by steps, right, Wayne?
What's that?
I think the reason for the confusion is because feet was measured by steps.
That's why.
Feet, literally foot, step.
Okay.
That's why.
But the correct translation would be steps.
Yeah, passi would be a step.
Okay.
Yeah, but it could be 620 feet too. But anyway, that's literally
I prefer
620 steps. Yes.
Yeah. So is it the translation? But in Italy is 620 passi.
So why does it have this particular name?
Because this is a project that born in Marano Lagunare. Marano Lagunare is a very interesting town close to the sea, on the sea, in Friuli Venezia Giulia, and the name comes from the distance of that in the past, because that in the past all the town has the wall to protect the city, the center, and so was the length of this wall. That's why
the height
to walk all the way around was 600. Yeah, so to walk all the way around the city was 620 steps.
620 steps.
We know Marano very well.
Yes, we have friends who live there.
We have a very good friend in Marano.
Yep. So we know.
And do you like it?
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful fishing village.
Fishing village. So you go there to have.
It's very evocative for people that visit this area, Jack. It's it's beautiful. It's a fishing village, and
it's a beautiful place to go and hang out. Yeah.
Continue, Riccardo.
So the Birrificio, the brewery was born sort of under some interesting circumstances.
Yeah. Because we did. It's the first Italian brewery that had an equity crowdfunding in Italy. So
equity crowdfunding.
Okay. So we have a lot of business partners. Wow. We have more than 250.
You have 250 partners.
Wow.
Okay.
Fantastic.
That's cool.
In Italy. Yeah. It's very cool. Yeah. Because we have a lot of people in Italy that share with us the passion of brewery, of beers, of craft beers. So we don't produce beer for ourselves, but we produce beer for a community. So let me say that we are a community of beer lovers. So it's not a normal craft brewery, and that's very powerful because give us a lot of ideas in order to produce new beers, and to have a lot of opportunities also in Italy, and is the first craft brewery in Italy.
May I? Craft beer is obviously very fashionable in recent years, in the last 10 years. Also, even, sorry everybody, but I'm from London, and which means I'm insular. So all my references, even though I live here, even in London, we have a lot of micro breweries now that are really, on trend. But also living in Friuli, there are lots of microbreweries in places like Sauris and even in near Cividale. And you can go and sit in the hills and drink fantastic beer. One of the problems is that you can't export this beer because it is so, you have to help me with the language, Riccardo. It's so fresh, it's so organic that you cannot transport it for more than whatever the time is. Would that be?
It's true, but it's the same with natural wine. So it's the same.
Nice.
We have the same problem. So it's true that it's more complex than the industrial beer, than the industrial wines. It's true, but it's possible, of course.
Of course.
Of course. So how many different types of beer do you make at the moment?
At the moment, we are producing 5 different types of beer. We have a pale ale, that is our blonde beer. We have a Indian pale ale. We have a Belgian ale. We have a blanche, and we have an extra stout. So just we have a blonde, a red, an IPA, a blanche, and a black beer.
Okay.
And
so when did this project start?
In 2015.
2015. Oh, okay. So older than the winery.
Yeah, it's older than wine.
The winery is from 2018. So the beer idea came before the wine.
But
Okay.
we did the
Very
crowdfunding in 2020, so last year.
Okay. Okay. So the Birrificio was born in 2015, but the crowdfunding was done last year. Okay.
Absolutely.
Very interesting. Really, really
So
interesting.
you're welcome to visit our brewery and to taste.
I can't wait. Well, it's down. It's Nat. It's going on the big road going down to Lignano. It's on that big road there. So.
Well, I'm just, for anybody listening, for you guys listening, I'm just looking at the bottle that we've just been drinking.
The Friulano.
Yeah, and for those of you that we're all in it together here. It says on the label, it says Friulano, and underneath it says indigenous yeast, no filtration, which is a very interesting way of marketing your wine, right?
Yeah, I think it's for natural wine. It's quite,
honest.
Yeah.
And cool.
Right on the front label, it's all there.
And there's a bee.
I'm going to try and post it. Those of you who don't follow me on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. At the end of the podcast, I will post not only photos of the podcast, but I'll also post a photo of the bottle, so you can see what we finished drinking, because we basically drank the whole bottle, which is
in a few minutes.
The best commercial, the best promotion for your wine ever. Is just like, we just love drinking this wine. So
Sandra,
we've almost finished.
I'm thinking of Sandra.
Yeah, who would just finish a whole bottle by herself, I'm sure, because I could certainly do it without a problem. Even though it's 14% alcohol, I don't really care.
God, in fact, you're right.
You don't feel it? No, really?
Yeah.
Not really.
Not really. Come on. Stop being a lightweight, Nat.
No, you don't feel it. You do and you don't. So the wine tastes really light. Like we said before, it's got this sort of almost grape juicy element to it, but I don't want to use the word grape juice because that wouldn't be right. But still, there's this grapey sweet.
Grapey is a technical term.
So it's grapey when you smell it, but when you taste it, it's very dry. And the fact that it's opaque,
cloudy.
Yeah. I'm learning. Makes it special.
I have a strange question to ask. I'm sorry.
Go, Jack. Go. No, jump right in.
I don't seem to see Nat on stage.
I'm trying, Jack. I've got a problem with my.
Because Jack, we have.
That's it. No wonder.
We have a very special setup going on here, Jack. We got 3 people in a taverna that's like a studio, so it's all going through me.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Because I wanted to follow Nat, but I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, Nat, I thought, weren't you on before, Nat?
To be honest with you, Jack, this evening I've been trying to get into Clubhouse, and it's just giving me next week. So, if we're going to publicize this, I don't know why I can't get into now.
Hang on.
They're all on now, and I'm just behind.
Yeah, I just pinged you in, Nat. You should get like a little message that says Wayne just invited you in. So, but yeah, definitely follow Nat, because Nat is very active on social media.
One does one's best.
But anyway, okay. So wine, beer. But that's not all. So now you have another project, which is kind of going back a little bit to wine. And then I'd love to talk to you about this because it sounds like a really interesting project, and I hope to be a part of it. But it's called Enjoy Prepotto.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about this project here, because I really think this is a fantastic
Thank you
idea.
very much, Wayne. Thank you very much. Enjoy Prepotto is a network of winery and a restaurant. The idea is that a tourist who wants to come to Prepotto has to enjoy Prepotto, so have a full experience in the town. So tasting the wine and the food from Prepotto.
A local, authentic experience are the words you're looking for, Riccardo.
Absolutely.
To come and be part of Prepotto, part of your winery, part of your experience, and feel, if they're really lucky, that they take something home with them inside. That's the key.
Yeah.
But the fact that you've put together this group is unique in Friuli.
Yeah, it's not that easy to create a network of winery of winemaker because of several reasons. I don't want to speak about those, but it's I think a unique project that will help us and Prepotto and the tourist that comes to Prepotto to understand the Schioppettino and to understand all the native grapes and also the pairing with food, because I want to remember that in the network we don't have only wineries, but we also have restaurants, and so you can find our wines in those restaurants. And if we want to have a dinner, we go to those restaurants. So it's a network. It's a win-win approach because we try to keep the wine lovers in Prepotto.
Yeah, and you're doing your first event on Friday, right?
Yeah,
which is like it's kind of like a winery walk.
It's a winery walk.
Okay, with food.
With food. So we have the dinner in two different moments. The first one in the vineyards, and so we start at 7:00 in the evening. We had a 1 hour walk in the vineyards, and then we have a first part of the dinner, and after the first part, of course, pairing the dinner with Schioppettino di Prepotto and Ciallo. We go back.
Now he tells me.
Yeah, you could have booked a flight, right, Yorick? You could have been
I'm looking
here
right now. Just
I'm sorry, we are sold out.
I think I'm sure, Riccardo, you can
No
find
worries,
a spot
no
for
worries,
Yorick.
no
Come on. Come on. He's your importer. You have to give him VIP status. Yorick, jump in the car. You'll be here by Friday. It's not a problem.
Exactly. You're in Holland.
That's only 11 hours driving, Wayne, so no worries.
You could leave on Friday morning. Come on.
I
stop
can leave
complaining.
Friday morning. I'll be there on time. No worries.
I know, Johnny, that you can do this. And so we are really sold out, and that's very interesting.
How many people?
40 people in 2 days.
That's
Wow,
fantastic.
you really are sold out. All on your website.
No, just with the text, WhatsApp, and social
Word of
media.
mouth. All word of mouth.
Yeah, just spreading
Very
the word
interesting.
That way. Yeah.
We don't have a website at the moment.
Okay, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, of course. In few days, I hope.
Okay.
We are working on that.
So I think this is fantastic. I think it's really great that you create this kind of network, but also, binding the area together, giving it an identity, and also giving people a reason to go there, a specific reason to go to that place.
Yeah.
Super important. Super important.
And we have a very important winery in the network. That's very important for us.
So yeah, I hope we need it. We need a resource. So hopefully soon you'll be able to sort of get a kind of a website or someplace where people can go and say, "Oh wow, look, there's there's SPOLERT, there's Ronchi di Ciale, there's Vidal, there's whatever Petrusa, whatever."
Yeah.
Exactly, and all these different wineries and restaurants too. Nat, go ahead.
Sorry, I just think it's exciting how you're doing it on your own. I think that's exciting. You're doing it on your own. I know you've got your network, but you're doing it anyway. So, today with social media and digital communication, you're doing it on your own. You've got 40 people, and we still are in the middle of a pandemic. Sorry, guys, but let's not forget.
Maybe the tail end.
Whatever.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, we're still in the shit, as it were. But the fact that you've got 40 people together to have this fantastic experience.
I mean, paying 35 euros for the dinner, so it's not that expensive, but it's not so cheap, and it's a way to have those people in Prepotto.
It goes to show that people won't really pay attention to the price so much if you give them a particular unique experience.
And
Absolutely.
Exactly. So, I hate to use these words because they're being used too much, but, authentic, all of these words that have been overused, but it's still true. Because if you're the one taking people around and explaining stuff to them, it makes a difference. It makes a difference.
Absolutely.
We have a guide for the tour. So we want to show the natural resource of this town. So we will walk in the vineyards, showing all the herbs and insects. So it's a naturalistic,
very cool,
botanical experience.
Botanical experience, more or less.
As well, a naturalistico. No?
But at the end, we will taste great wines.
Fantastic.
As I told before to Wayne today, it's a very important day because for Schioppettino, because decanter that maybe you know.
This is big news.
Tell us.
Big
tell
news.
us.
Hit us with the big
Tell
news.
us.
Big news. In Prepotto, we got 5 medals, so 3 silver medals and 1 gold medal and 2 gold medals. On Schioppettino di Prepotto, and this is a very important result. I think that a so important international magazine tried to look at this wine.
And may we say Mazel Tov from
there you go.
Absolutely, congratulations. No, seriously, that's fantastic for all of you that know Decanter.
Yeah, Decanter's a big deal, man. It's like, the original wine magazine.
And the fact that Riccardo is so small and fresh and new, that's a big deal.
Huge result.
A big deal.
Result. I mean, I know you're very modest and you don't want to say, but which wines got which medals from SPOLERT?
We had the medals on pepper. That is a Schioppettino. The one aged for 2 years in
barrel.
In barrel.
And you got a
silver medal.
Silver medal.
93 points.
Which is a big deal from Decanter, silver medals. Not easy to get.
We are quite happy, yeah. And we had 2 gold medals in the town.
In the town.
So we had Roncosorelli and Vigna Petrusa. Roncosorelli with Riserva 2011.
Okay.
And Vigna Petrusa with 2018, I guess. I don't remember. Or
Fantastic.
17. I don't remember.
Good results.
Yeah, for the town. For the town.
Yeah, for Prepotto, for a little town.
Absolutely.
That, this maybe will put them on the map. And maybe we'll get a bunch of, British wine tourists coming over to enjoy Prepotto.
I want to say that this is a little secret. And for those of you that are lucky enough to be present at the moment, maybe, just maybe, this will become something really, really special because, I mean, obviously Wayne's the expert here, but still we have something very special here. And for those of you that are listening, get in there quick.
Get in there
Get in there quick.
Exactly. Before it turns into the next Barcelona.
No more. Non rialto.
Exactly. You don't want to. Yeah. You want to go to Barcelona when Barcelona was just like Barcelonians. Now Barcelona. So anyway, all right. I'm going to start wrapping things up here. Any more questions from Sandra, Heather, Yorick, Jack? Anything else that you wanted to throw in here? Questions for Riccardo before we wrap up? So giving you guys this last opportunity to sort of speak up.
I just wanted to say something. I'm really glad you organized this sessions to put Friuli on the map, and I think it's an underrated area in fact that people don't know it yet, so they don't find it easily and they don't drink the wines easily in comparison to Tuscany or Puglia or any other region. So I think it's good you do this. And to Riccardo, thanks for the past year working with me. And I think it's really great what you do and the opportunities we get together. So thank you for that.
Great.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you, Jorik.
Great, Yorick. Yeah, thank you very much. All right. Jack, did you have anything you wanted to jump on? I see you clapping there, but I don't know if you wanted to add something in.
Oh, just wanted to say thanks for the room. A pleasure to meet all of you, especially Riccardo. I hope your wines make it to Canada in the near future, if not already here.
Yeah, actually, I'm selling in Ontario, so I just have to work with LCBO. So in the future, you will find it on the market.
Okay, good to know. Thank you, Riccardo.
Thank you, Jack.
Fantastic. Well, I want to thank Riccardo. Riccardo, you've been fantastic and patient.
Thank you, Riccardo.
Yes.
Thank you, Wayne and Nat, for this
for coming and spending time with us. I also want to thank Nat for being here.
Thank you, baby.
You've been really talkative tonight. I like it.
I know, it's a bit more...
I know. Is it the wine?
I think it's the wine.
It's the 14% alcohol.
I'm a bit more relaxed. I've got lots of questions.
I think that's the key. Yeah, we're going to have to feed you more wine next time. No, but really, thank you, Heather, for being here. Sandra, thank you for coming for the first time. That's great. Please do come back. Follow me on Instagram as well. This way I know when you're online so I can join your wine rooms. I would love to take part in your things as well. I know there's Christopher also in the audience. He just jumped in. There were some other people who came sort of in and out, but thank you to everybody. Thank you to our super sound guy, Robbie Milani, who's always here taking care of us. Thank you behind the scenes. Nobody listens to him, but he's here and we know he's here and he's super important to us. So,
right here.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for spending some time with us tonight. We'll see you next week with Ippolito from Modiano Winery. He's going to be here talking about some wines from the Bassa Friulano. Very, very interesting. So get that in your calendar and follow us on Instagram. I'll be posting some pictures of the session tonight and also the bottle that we've completely finished drinking right now. That bottle is empty, boys and girls. No better advertisement for a bottle than one that's been drunk completely. So thank you, Riccardo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
Thank you,
Riccardo.
Have a nice night,
Thank
everybody.
you, Riccardo.
Thank you,
everyone.
Heather. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Have a nice evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.